My name is Serena Blake. For over a decade, I was known as one of the most gifted psychics in the world. People from all walks of life sought me out to read their futures, reveal hidden secrets, and glimpse the unseen. My life was filled with bright lights, crystal balls, and endless sessions that drained me but fed my ego. I never believed in God. I never feared hell. The afterlife to me was a realm of spirits and energies, sometimes dark, sometimes light, but nothing absolute. I thrived in that ambiguity, wrapped in the power of knowing things others couldn't. It was during a private card reading in a high-rise penthouse that everything changed. As I laid out the final cards, a sharp pain struck my chest. I gasped but kept my eyes locked on the cards as if they could anchor me. The pain grew unbearable, my vision blurred, and then darkness swallowed me whole. They said I was dead before the ambulance even arrived. No pulse, no breath, clinically dead. But what I saw next was more terrifying than anything I'd ever predicted. I awoke in a place of horror and fire hell, a place where pain was endless and hope was crushed beneath the weight of eternal regret. I was surrounded by screams, shadows, and faces contorted in anguish. Every soul there was trapped in torment, but what haunted me most was the clear truth that I was headed there too. Terror gripped me unlike anything in my psychic visions. I had seen many futures, but none prepared me for the cold reality of hell. And then, just as I was about to be swallowed by despair, a figure appeared radiant, wounded, full of mercy. It was Christ. He came not as judge, but as savior. And at that last second, he reached out his hand to me. As I trembled in that terrifying realm, the figure moved closer. His presence alone was unlike anything I had ever known, more real than the spirits I had once claimed to read, more powerful than the darkness surrounding me. It was Jesus. His wounds glowed softly, but it was his eyes that held me captive. Eyes full of boundless mercy and overwhelming love, not condemnation. I expected anger, judgment, a list of my sins, but instead, he whispered my name, Serena, with a gentleness that shattered my fear. He spoke words that echoed through my soul. You were never beyond my reach. Even when you walked in shadows, I was waiting with open arms. I wanted to run to him, to fall at his feet and never leave. But I also felt the weight of my choices, the years I had lived in, pride, deception, and false power. Jesus said, I see your heart, every secret and sorrow, but my love is stronger than your past. As tears streamed down my face, tears I hadn't known I was capable of, I reached for his hand. And when I touched him, I felt a warmth flood me, burning away the chains of fear and shame. He told me, I did not come to condemn, but to save. And today, I am saving you. And then, he beckoned me to follow him, to see what heaven really was. The moment I took his hand, the terrifying flames and screams faded into a gentle light that enveloped us both. I was no longer in torment, but standing before gates that shimmered with brilliance beyond any jewel or earthly treasure. The gates opened, and I was drawn inside a place of unimaginable peace and joy, a reality so pure it made my earthly life's illusions seem trivial. I saw people faces radiant with joy, whole and unburdened by pain or shame. They sang, laughed, and embraced, their love shining brighter than the sun. Jesus turned to me and said, This is what I have prepared for those who trust in eternity, with no more tears, no more pain. I realized that this wasn't a fantasy or a dream, but the truth waiting for anyone willing to surrender. He showed me the beauty of heaven not as a distant myth, but a place of life perfected in love. And then he revealed a choice before every soul. You can stay here with me forever, or you can return with a purpose. I was overwhelmed. I had spent my life predicting futures, but now I was face to face with the one true future that mattered. Jesus said, I'm sending you back, Serena, not just to live, but to testify, because the world needs to hear of my mercy, especially those who think they're beyond hope. Tears poured down my cheeks. I knew my life would never be the same. When I opened my eyes, the sterile hospital room flooded my senses. The steady beep of machines, the smell of antiseptic, the soft murmur of Nurcessit all felt foreign, like I had been pulled back from another dimension. Doctors told me I was clinically dead for several minutes, but none of that mattered to me anymore. What mattered was the overwhelming sense of love I had experienced, the mercy that saved me from a fate I now knew was real. I was no longer the same Serena Blake who once thrived on secrets and illusions. I was a woman reborn, burdened with a message that wouldn't leave me in peace. But coming back wasn't easy. I faced doubts, questions, and a profound sense of loneliness. How do you explain to millions that the supernatural is real, that God's love is stronger than any darkness, that mercy can reach even the hardest hearts? Some rejected me, some mocked me, but I pressed on because I had seen what was real, and I knew my story could save lives. I began sharing my testimony, first softly, then with increasing courage. I spoke of Jesus, mercy, and a love that transcended judgment. And slowly, people started listening. After returning from that harrowing experience, I couldn't forget the shadows I had seen, the real hell filled with suffering and despair. It wasn't just a story or myth. It was a place where souls endured endless regret and separation from love. I realized how close I had come to being trapped there forever. But more than that, I understood the incredible power of the mercy that saved me. That mercy wasn't just for me, it was for every person living in darkness, every soul chasing empty promises, every heart afraid of what comes next. I saw how the enemy uses lies to blind uslies. I had once believed myself, that God was distant, angry, or uninterested. But Jesus shattered those lies with his presence. Now, I carry a light in me that refuses to be hidden. I walk boldly, not because I'm perfect, but because I've been made new. And my mission is clear, to share that light, that mercy, that love with a world desperate for hope. Since coming back, my life has been a whirlwind, not of fame or followers, but of purpose. I travel from city to city, sharing the story of a love so powerful it pulled me back from the edge of eternity. I meet people broken by addiction, despair, loneliness, and sin, people who, like me, once thought they were beyond hope. I tell them that no darkness is too deep, no past too dark, no mistake too great, because God's mercy is greater. I see tears and smiles, broken hearts mending, and lives transforming before my eyes. And each time I speak, I feel the love that saved me flowing through me. It's not always easy. The old temptations, fears, and doubts try to pull me back. But every time I remember the light I saw, the mercy I felt, the Savior who called me by name, I stand firmer. I am no longer just Serena Blake, the psychic. I am Serena, a witness to the greatest love the world has ever known. Sharing my story hasn't been without sacrifice. Friends I once trusted distanced themselves. Some industry insiders tried to silence me, fearing my transformation would disrupt their narratives. Even my own doubts crept in, wondering if I was truly heard, or if this was just another phase. But the power of the love I experienced keeps me going. I remember the faces of those I meet, people trapped in darkness, addicted to control, lost in lies, looking at me with flickers of hope I hadn't seen before. That's why I keep speaking, because love is worth any cost. Every word I share, every tear I shed, every hand I hold, it's part of a larger story. The story of mercy triumphing over judgment, of light piercing through despair. And I know I'm not alone. There are others, like me, whose lives have been transformed by the mercy of Christ. Together, we are a chorus of redemption, echoing through the darkest places. Now, I live each day knowing I was given a second chance, not just to exist, but to truly live. Every moment is a gift, every breath a testimony. I use my voice to break chains, not only my own, but those of others still trapped in darkness. I share the truth that mercy is not a myth, but a powerful force that can transform even the most broken lives. If my story reaches just one person feeling lost, scared, or unloved, then every tear, every pain, every fear was worth it, because I met the one who weeps over our pain, who calls us by name, who offers unconditional love. I am Serena Blake. Once, a famous psychic. Now, a living witness to God's mercy and love. And I will spend my life telling the world, you are loved, you are forgiven, you can be saved.